Okay, guys, I want to talk about my new song, right? Good Peoples. That's the title of the song. Good Peoples. And the reason why I gave that song that name is because I'm good peoples, guys. I'm a good person, guys. I'm good peoples. And I believe in good, and I believe that there's more good people in this world than bad people. That's just what I believe, right? That's why I want to make music that, that represents good, because I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bitter person. I'm not angry at anybody, right? But I'll get into it. So, the lyrics of the song goes like, I wish things were different. Wish you were still single. Cause the way you be feeling me, but your man be between us. I don't want you to cheat, cause I know you good peoples. I know you good peoples, right? Okay. So by the way, that's not a real experience. I've never experienced that before. That is actually me trying to make positive music, right? Cause I don't want to make music that is, that is negative, bro. Because if you listen to the lyrics, it talks about a girl that who's in a relationship, but we vibing and shit, but we vibing and yeah, but I'm not encouraging that girl to leave her man to be with me, and that's all, right? It's right there, you know what I mean? The lyrics are right there. They say it, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not encouraging anybody to leave their man or boyfriend or husband, to be with me. That's not what I'm encouraging in that song. And that's the reason why I made that song, because I don't want to encourage people, to leave their relationships with people who are willing to have healthy relationships with them for some 15 seconds butterflies, you know what I mean, for some excitement, or for some what you call it, what's this word that they use on the internet? There's a word that you guys use on the internet, dopamine, for some dopamine rush, right? Yeah. So that's why I made that song, right? I made that song because I have a positive mindset, right? And I'm sure because I put a video of me making that song online, right? I put a video on, YouTube of me just making a whole song, right? I was quick to make it. Like, I just came up with the freestyle in my head. I heard the beat and I started playing the beat and I came up with the freestyle and I came up with the melodies. And then next thing, I came up with words. So it was even easy for me to come up with those words because that's where my mind is at right now. You understand? My mind is positive, I'm not thinking about negative stuff. I'm not thinking about toxic shit. You know what I mean? I'm thinking positive. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why I make songs like that, right? And I also wanted to, make a song that people can listen to, because that's what I want, bro. Like, I don't just want to make music because I'm creative, to showcase that I'm creative. I also want to make music that people listen to, that, you can listen to, you can play in your car, you can play while you're cooking, it can be on your playlist with other songs from other artists, I want my music to fit in your playlist, you know what I mean, if that makes sense. So I want you to hear my song after your other favorite song, right? And I want my songs to be your favorite songs as well, you know what I mean? And that is the whole point, guys. You know what I mean? But again, I want to stay positive, guys. That's what I want to preach. You know, I don't want to be. I'm not bitter. You know, and I don't believe that I'm bitter. You know, and I want you. I want my music to reflect that. You know, to show the world that I'm not a bitter person. I'm not mad at anybody. You know, I believe in healthy relationships. I believe in true love. And I want my music to reflect that, you know, if I'm going to talk about that, right? If I'm going to make a song about that, I want my music to reflect that, right? I don't want my music to be about, you know, things that don't work and, you know, especially if I'm going to talk about love and relationships, bro. It shouldn't be about that. It should be about things that work, you know what I mean? Yeah, and that's what I want to do. That's what I want to keep on pursuing, you know. Not just make songs about, you know, things that are just out there, the noise that is just out there on the internet, you know. Because everybody, you know, I feel like it's just making like things that are like, you know, I mean, I can make songs about, like, you know, different emotions, right? Like when I say different emotions, I'm talking about you know, whether you're sad, whether you're happy, you know, you can listen to them, you know, because that's how we're supposed to do it, right? We're supposed to trigger different emotions. That's what we're supposed to do. Okay, I got distracted real there. I got distracted. So what was I talking about? By the way, I was not scared. You know, I was not scared because I know people think that I was scared. You know, but I'm not that type of dude. You're not gonna play with me, bruh. You're not gonna play with me. I was not scared. I was just trying to make way for that guy so that, you know, he can pass and I can continue with what I was doing. And when they started talking to each other, I became distracted. But anyway, that's what I'm saying, guys. You know, I want to make, you know, songs that trigger different emotions, you know, but in a most positive way. I don't want to make songs, you know, that's going to get somebody to kill themselves or commit suicide or whatever, right? You know, if I'm going to talk about a sad song, I want somebody to get out of that depression and, you know, and stay positive and motivated. That's what I want to do. You know, that's the type of music that I want to do. I want to make, I'm sorry. So anyway, that's it, guys. Peace, I'm out.